The same guy in Dez Bryant who was criticizing the call to action is the same guy that I remember saying we got to feed our families, and so I'm not taking a knee.
That's exactly what he said.
The same guy who's talking shit about a man who is no longer playing, and that's how it came across, whether he felt like he was or not, who is no longer playing, who has sacrificed the game that he loves, really did have a call to action. He took an L for everybody, and he was blackballed. And for Dez to be so bold and be like, we got families to feed. He should have just tapped out. I prefer you not to speak if you know nothing to say, if you don't have the right. I'd rather you not talk at all. I'm never talking on something I know nothing about, or I'm not passionate about, or nothing that I truly believe in. And when he came on your podcast, my only concern was that he was very adamant about something that I felt like he was not fully briefed on. That bothered me. And then what even bothered me further was that nobody pushed back. And then you have Colin Kaepernick on your podcast, and he doesn't necessarily tell us anything that's new, but do you ask him if he had a call to action? Do you ask him if he knew what he was doing?
Yeah. So this is challenging, right? Because let's go back to Dez Bryant. Here's what I didn't like about the Dez Bryant episode, right? To your point. When we're talking about human rights, we're talking about police brutality. I feel some type of way about Colin back in 2016, because the same thing that Dez said, because we had no plan. But at the end of the day, like, we've all experienced that where we come from in our neighborhood. So I feel like that's not the time to do that. We supposed to be together. Right?
Correct.
That's my thing, okay? Now I'm pushing forward to Cap. Same thing. To me, this is not about journalism, and it's not about like trying to hold him accountable, ask him this question, that question. It's about me supporting a brother. Why? Because his story is more power. It's already powerful. It's already legendary. He's already saved lives. He, like you said, he took L's for a lot of us. He deserves to be back in the NFL.
Facts.
Because what he said on our show, my message, your message matches up with my message from back in 2016. You have end racism in the end zone. You have Black Lives Matter in the end zone on the back of your helmet. The guy that started all of this, created this environment for all of us, why is he still paying the price? If he's saying, you listen, I want to play, I still can play.
Which is why, Brandon, without cutting you off, I was beefy with Dez. I'm like, Dez, he's taking some L's for you. Come on the show. And if we do talk about Colin, know what you're talking about. And I don't know if that was duplicative because he wanted to get somebody to give him a gig so that whomever they are that are hiring are like, oh, he's with us. Because sometimes it be that. I don't know. But I'm just suggesting. The reality is I wasn't down with all of Colin's messages. Are we down with every one of our leaders' messages? No, we're not, because we are not a monolith and we do not think alike. But he did not know what that meant. And that was disappointing on that platform. However, with that being said, I
will say this. Hold on. I will say this. There's a lot of guys
who agree.
Still a lot of guys to this day like that feel that way. And it's like, to me,
100%.
It's like, Right.
I agree with you. I'm not saying what he said was wrong. I just said it was uninformed, but I also know that a lot of people agree with him. I still think of it this way. Colin was not trying to be a leader. Someone asked him why he was sitting. He gave his random message who he thought, and then it became this news. And then he became a leader. And then they pushed him here. And he didn't know what was going on. Life was coming so fast. And I'm asking for people to have nuance and understanding. Now, when he knew he was a leader, when he knew he was a leader, when he knew the world was listening to him and people were comparing him to Muhammad Ali, then what do you do with it? That's when I was like, Colin, you could be better. Because now you know. You didn't fall into it. Now you know. You couldn't lead all those men because you didn't know where you was going. You didn't know if he's going to have a job or not. And with that being said, you get him to come on your amazing podcast, and he talks and he doesn't necessarily say anything new, but he says, I'm willing to be a backup. Life has changed. I'm willing to be in the game. I'm still doing this workout. And by the way, I've talked to Colin briefly. I talked to him at his premiere. I still honor what he did because he lost what he loved. And I couldn't imagine somebody taking my voice away. I couldn't imagine somebody taking my platform away. That would break my heart. It would send me into depression. It would make me reevaluate about what life is. And he's handled this with grace and elegance. And I'm asking you as an athlete who has this platform to provide the fucking nuance. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I'm mad at him too.
No, but here's the challenge though, and I gotta keep it
a buck. Challenge me. Keep it a buck.
So, right, there's two things that we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with the movement and we're dealing with football. So Colin still, like this past weekend, he was in Vegas, with the Know Your Rights tour and everything he's doing there. Like every single day, every single weekend, he's still pushing, he's still fighting, right? He doesn't talk about it. Nobody's highlighting it, but he's still talking about it. So you also got to understand that there's a lot of things in development. It's been 5 years since he's sat down with anybody. This dude has things in development that he's been working on for a very long time. And guess what? That's my brother, and I want to honor that and respect that because, in a year from now, he can come out with this amazing film, this amazing story that really covers all of that. So what the traditional media doesn't do, they don't respect that. They try to oh my goodness, this is a great win for us. We got Colin. It's the first time he's ever sat down with anyone for 5 years. But what about that partnership? And what about what he has going on outside of that, right? For me, the reason why I approached it the way I did is because you got Colin, and now you have this guy that's saying, I want to play football. And I want to support that because I believe that he should be playing football. 100%. So to me, it was more so about that because I think we have a lot of time to continue this story and tell the story of everything else he was doing. Right now, I want him back in the NFL because I think the legend and the story of Colin Kaepernick and his second wave of the civil rights movement, it gets even bigger. Just imagine him being back in the NFL. It'd be so
it'd be amazing.
You know this. Let's keep it like you said. Let's keep it a buck, right? Colin's sitting down with us. For him to feel comfortable, let's respect that.
I not only do I respect it, I love it, which is why I do love these athlete-led platforms. And that's the overall consensus. I really respect what you're doing. The Pivot podcast, all the smoke, y'all. And I respect all of it because they do need an area where they feel safe, and they do need a space where they can communicate the way they choose to communicate and not have somebody like me be like, that don't make sense. I hope with that being said, we get to see Colin play. That would be great. I don't think that'll ever happen.
He will play. He will play.
So? You think
he will play?
Talk to me.
He has to. You can't have. Listen.
How
thank
not?
you, NFL.
He's been out of the league.
I did this on our show. It doesn't matter. He's been out
of the league for 5 years. Where is he going to play at? Who's taking him?
There's 32 teams.
Correct.
Right now, there's probably around 30, but around 3 quarterbacks per roster. That's 96 quarterbacks in the National Football League. See,
Brandon,
he is better than half of them.
What does that mean?
So for her to time out. So that means that he can play. That means that his talent is good enough. Second, NFL, you can't have racism in the end zone. You can't go on a rant, Mr. Pete Carroll, who I love and respect and study his leadership ways. I love playing for him. You can't go to the owners meeting in South Florida and say, we got to do better with minorities. Roger Goodell, who I have a great relationship with, I can text him right now. But you can't say we got it wrong. We should be protecting and supporting our athletes that peacefully protest and still blackball Colin Kaepernick. Can't happen.
It's been happening.
Yeah, but enough's enough. Enough's enough.
Why would they change if they've been able to get away with it?
They got to change and go back to your point. We got it wrong in 2016 as NFL players. But right now, what y'all did in 2020, coming together and saying, what if it was me?
Brandon, No one's holding them accountable because they own the league. The rich white men control the league. They don't have bosses. They are their bosses. They answer to no one.
We the bosses.
Okay, talk to me how that works, because it's
We
been
the
5 years.
bosses. We the
I listen.
bosses.
I
We the
I
bosses.
I'm in you. Listen.
I know
in
you.
theory,
I know.
I'm
I know
right there
where
with
at.
you.
I know
I
where you're at.
want
But
him to have a
here,
job.
here's the power. We finally found our voice.
So you're
4
saying
years.
because
4 years later. 4 years later, you saw.
are you saying we as an athletes?
We as Black athletes. 4 years later, we saw OBJ, Saquon Barkley, all the Black stars in the NFL say, "What if it was me?" Together, collectively.
Brandon, I want him
The
to have a job.
masses.
And if you're right and I am wrong, that would make me happy. Nothing would make me more happy to see him on the NFL roster. The reason why I don't think it can happen is because if Colin is in the locker room, it disrupts the entire equation. There's a man who pushed back and told y'all, I don't give a and I'm the boss and I will kneel. And the question will be, will you kneel? And he'll be like, yeah, I'm kneeling. You think that he would take a backup quarterback position if they told him he couldn't kneel?
We're past kneeling. Colin
We
Kaepernick
are
don't need to
okay.
kneel.
Okay.
You don't need to
Okay.
kneel.
Okay, Jay-Z. But my point is that if he decides that he wants to do some sort of protest and they say no, I don't think he's going to be in agreement. And that will disrupt the apple cart. No,
I'll tell you right now, I'm in agreement for Colin Kaepernick coming in and just playing football. We don't need to kneel no more. We passed that. He knows that we passed that.
Is he in agreement with that?
Yeah,
you interviewed him.
He is going in there to play football. Is he going to continue to stand up and for what he believes in and fight for what he believes in? Absolutely. Absolutely. But he's going in as a football player. I asked him on the show, how are you going to eliminate distractions, right? We're going in to win a championship. That's what it's about. He loves football. That's
so when
what
you
it's
say,
about.
how do we eliminate distraction? What does that mean?
He's coming in to play football. We won't got to kneel no more. He already did it. He already kneeled. That's going back. Right now, it's about what you said. It's about having that plan in place. Now, okay, you didn't ask to be the face of it. Now you are. Now you have the plan in place. That's more powerful than kneeling.
What
you
happens
go out
when
there? What I need from Colin Kaepernick? Go throw me.
Go slang
touchdowns.
that thing. I need you to slang that thing. That's it.
But
what happens when during the NFL year a Black man is murdered and he feels the need to say something? If he's asked about it, one of these pesky ass journalists say, hey,
this is what I'm gonna say. All right, got it. Great question. This is what I'm gonna say. And that's what I'm gonna ask some other legends, NFL legends, to say. Colin, you sacrificed enough. Just play football. Every other Black NFL player, now it's time for y'all to take the knee.